cybersecurity for small businesses, what you need to know. So often cyber is left to the last minute, and really, to be honest, it needs to be thought about from the beginning. So whenever you're starting your business, you need to think about cybersecurity, and especially in this stage where technology is moving so quickly and our world, the future of work is changing, it's something to be highlighted in. But there's lots of different areas there. And again, if you send on our details, we'll definitely make sure that you get to those events. That's just giving you a kind of brief idea of some of the things we did last year. We have a fantastic flagship event during the month of May, which runs from the 17th to the 21st of May. And we've over 40 speakers talking about cloud, the future of work, AI, and lots of different subjects there. And again, it's our community supporting the tech community. So it's free. So you're more than welcome to come along. You just sign up for the events. You'll get some information on the website and make sure to sign up. That's just giving you a snapshot there. We've some podcasts there, YouTube channels, and that's some of our unique programs that are unique to us. We have a cyber online program where we take 28 people from the live register and upskill them in cyber every year. We have an inside sales program. We have an AI for managers, and then the accelerated leadership program. Plenty going on there. So what can we do to help startups? So there's lots of things we can do. While we have a startup forum, these are things you need to come to us about, and we will try and find and link you up with somebody that can help you. So there's lots of bits and pieces. With the cybersecurity I mentioned, one-to-one business advice. If there's somebody that you want an introduction to, we will try and help you. Mentorshipping. Then we have the identifying skills, the gaps in training. If you need IP advice, if you're looking for talent pool, we can try and help you with some talent. And obviously you're free to join the membership and network as much, which is very important as well.
Okay, I mean, the challenge here really is to connect people up, because you've got lots of different companies who are doing different things. So how you ran through the services that are there, but realistically, what does ITAG do to help people solve problems, or to get that last mile that they need to get their products ready for market?
Well, I suppose if you take the last program, the LEO Distribute, we had about 5 or 6 people come to us who had different individual issues that they were looking for. Some for IP issues, some were talent issues, some wanted to do the vision and storyboarding to try and get their elevator pitch ready. So we can put them in touch with the right person. We can try and extend out an invitation to our membership, which is quite a large membership, to see if there's somebody willing to give them time and help on those issues, and we're quite successful with it. We do it quietly, but we do it. So if there's something out there that you need help with, come along and ask us. And again, obviously networking is very important, and coming to the events, meeting people, seeing who's there, and connecting back to us to see if we can help.
One of the big challenges, particularly in tech, is a lot of it is IP, a lot of it is unique. And there's a couple of reasons why you mightn't come forward straight away and tell somebody about it. It could be that A, it mightn't be to the standard that you want to show to other people yet. Yes. B, you might want to show them what you have just in case they rob it. So there's a whole load of barriers that people throw up in place. How do you overcome those, Caroline?
Well, there's a code of ethics, and there's obviously confidentiality agreements, and it's a trust issue. So if you have something like IP, you do want to protect it. You don't want to be giving your information away. But we have people that have been working with us for years who we value and we trust, and the biggest thing is trust. So all you can do is ask. We can try and find somebody for you. After that, it's up to you to decide whether you want to go down that route with that relationship or not. But we do have some very valued people that we have over the years working with us, including people in the colleges and in the industry.
I mean, technology is a journey. I mean, you don't end up with the product without going on that journey, making mistakes along the way, finding support from people. And it's not a quick journey either, if I can put it that way. You do have to hit those bumps on the road and ask for advice.
Yeah, you have to ask for advice, and to be honest, sometimes the technology is lost in the business. You have an idea, and it's a great idea, but now everything is driven by technology, so it has to be your focus. You have to sort the cybersecurity out. You have to sort the technology out at an early stage. You can't afford to leave it. You can't go too far down the road and then come back and say, oh my goodness, I need to sort out the technology. What do I need to do here? So they kind of go hand in hand. And especially in this age when everything is moving so different, so quickly, the future of work is changing, the way we do business, but technology is changing rapidly. And actually small businesses are in an ideal opportunity to be able to pivot and to ask these questions and pivot their business. And we have some resources there for you. Come along and ask.
And the last question I'll put to you is the ecosystem that's out there. I mean, you showed us your map with the little clusters all the way down, and people helping out. What I find fascinating is that the Midwest, the West Coast, that Atlantic corridor, it's really positioning itself for what comes next, which is Industry 4.0.
Yeah.
There's huge opportunity here. Geography isn't and shouldn't be a barrier. And the companies who are watching now, I mean, they need to think big.
Yeah, they do need to think big. And unfortunately, the biggest challenge for all our companies at the moment is talent. So actually, in actual fact, talent is kind of pulling us together in one way, because we have to look for talent. I mean, we're moving to a different way of work, and a more, it's going to be hybrid way of work. We have people staying at home, but we'll have people coming to the office. So still people that are commutable, we're still trying to attract those people in. And that kind of pulls you together. When you're looking for talent, it pulls you together, and you come up with ideas and ways to, create the talent pool, to work with the colleges and try to encourage people to take up computer science and STEM subjects. You have to do these things to try and move forward. So yes, I think it's important for the Atlantic corridor, the gateway, or whatever you want to call it, to pull together and move together would be quite important going forward.
We obviously have an upcoming event, International Women's Day. I think it's next Monday, isn't it? And you've got a great speaker lined up at the look of it.
It's next Monday, but we're going with Thursday to avoid the clutter of invitations. So Davina Saint, I'm sure you know of her. She's fantastic. I was chatting to her earlier today. And again, it'd be fantastic if the people on this call want to come along, go to the website, click the link and come along and hear Davina talk about her journey and diversity and the importance of diversity. So she's a fantastic speaker. We're delighted to have her. So you're very welcome to come along to that as well. And anything we can do to help, we'd be more than willing to try.
What's the website address again, Caroline? We will come back to you for the question and answer session afterwards, but how do people find you, get more detail about what you do?
It's just www.itag.ie, itag.ie.
Couldn't be easier. Okay, Caroline Cawley, CEO of ITAG, thank you so much for joining us. I'll let you turn your camera off. Stop sharing your screen for the time being, and we will come back to the question and answer session. If you have a question for Caroline or any of our speakers, you know what to do, Q&A down the bottom. Now, Confirm, we're going to speak with next. They believe in creating a community of practice with industry, researchers, and the general public, where they learn about smart manufacturing and Industry 4.0. We have an extensive research network in Confirm that spans 9 research partner institutes, because as we know, a lot of the innovation, a lot of the brilliance that is coming through now had its origins in the fantastic education institutions that we have. So our next speaker is the Business Development Manager with the Confirm Centre for Smart Manufacturing in Limerick. Prior to joining Confirm, he worked with a number of SMEs and a large UK-based PLC. His role in Confirm works with companies across multiple sectors to research projects in relation to the next big thing. Let's invite in Patrick Reedy. Patrick Reedy from the Confirm Centre for Smart Manufacturing. How are you, sir?
Very good, Jonathan. Great to be here.
Good to talk to you. Look, to the uninitiated, I mean, I have spoken to you before, so I have a good little bit of a working knowledge. But to those who aren't familiar with the Confirm Centre, what do you guys do?
Yeah, so we're funded by Science Foundation Ireland and would have been launched in late 2017. So we're the SFI Centre for Smart Manufacturing. So we're headquartered in UL, and as you mentioned in your introduction, we're a national centre for smart manufacturing. So we have members from Cork in terms of UCC, CIT, Tyndall, Limerick, UL, LIT, NUIG, Athlone and IT, and Maynooth University and IT Tralee. So we have, I suppose, expertise in all the different areas around Industry 4.0, and we pull those from the various corners of the country when needed, you know.
And the great thing is that there is fascinating technological advancements going on. And we'll get into what you do in a minute. I know you have a video to show us, but I always make the point, Patrick, that when I went to college 806 years ago, it wasn't that long ago, you got your degree and you were thrown out into the world and you took a job and you moved on. And a lot of that innovation then was absorbed into companies or perhaps stifled along the way. We have a different approach now in the education sector, and it's more about fostering these ideas while you're still there, which is a huge change, isn't it?
Oh yeah, look, it's all about innovation, you know, and like, you know, I would see ourselves like not just on an Irish landscape, but globally, you know, it's so important that we foster that, and, you know, that talent development is a huge area that we focus on and confirm, you know. So like many of the companies that we work with, they're looking at, okay, how can we stay ahead of the curve? How can we, you know, look at generating that talent pipeline for that will sort of future-proof themselves, and certainly it's an area that we're very focused on. And I suppose, you know, in terms of research, you know, we're probably lower TRL, you know, so we have the opportunity to look at maybe more blue sky thinking, you know, than some other centres. So we're probably ranging TRL 1 to 5, 1 to 6, rather than maybe some of the research that's maybe more close to deployment as well, you know.
I mean, look, you could stay in a locked room and just keep producing ideas like monkeys banging the keyboards, but you have to partner with industry, and you have established really strong pathways and really strong relationships. Tell us a little bit about those. Yeah,
so look, with our structure, basically we've a hub and spoke model. So the hub is basically research that's happening all of the time within our 9 partners, and we have master's students and PhDs that are working on that. And then in our spokes, it's the areas where we can partner with industry potentially and look at challenges that they have in their own manufacturing facilities across multiple sectors, really, and look at where we can maybe support those in terms of research. You know, so we look at all those areas from, you know, we've mentioned already AR, VR, AI, machine learning, analytics, you know, to robotics, cobots, and the whole future of work, really, you know. So, you know, we work with SMEs, multinationals, right across throughout the country, and I suppose really, look, we've started in 2017 as a brand new centre. Many centres have evolved from another state to previous, whereas we were brand new. So it's taken a while to ramp up, but I think now we're really getting to the stage where we can really drive forward and grow. And
you have a lovely shiny office, but no one's been able to get into it for 12 months. So you might tell us a little bit about it and show us a little bit if you can.
Yeah, I might share my screen now here, Jonathan, and as I'm doing so, I can chat through it. So hopefully, you guys can see that screen now coming up in front of you.
Yeah, there you have it.
And how you present to view. Yeah, so we're headquartered in UL, as I mentioned, and we're located. Our own HQ is located just off campus in UL's digital district, and it's literally finished in March last year, just as we went into lockdown. You know, so it was funded to the tune of 3.1 million by UL. So it's a fantastic centre. You know, it's a national centre. So again, everybody that's on the event today, you know, we see ourselves as a truly national centre. So it's there to, I suppose, bridge that gap between academia and industry, and create that forum for sort of a two-way conversation around smart manufacturing industry 4.0. Before I go on, I might actually just play the video. It's about 2.5 minutes long. It's actually our centre director, Professor Conor McCarthy, will talk you through the centre, and we can chat further afterwards.
Okay, let's have a look at that.
Welcome to Confirm. This is the facade of our brand new research facility. We're delighted to show you around the building today. The Confirm Centre is ideally located about 10 minutes from the main motorway between Dublin and Limerick, and also at the outskirts of Limerick City, with ample parking space below the building, also about a 15-minute walk from the University of Limerick. So this is our new headquarters, and what you see when you enter the building is our cyber part of our cyber physical manufacturing systems. Here we have a full server capacity, 10 gigabyte internet cable into the building, and a 5G network to power the cyber physical manufacturing systems within the building. So in here we have our three-dimensional virtual reality cave, and it's an 8 meter diameter cave. It's going to be used to look at future manufacturing, virtual reality, augmented reality, and also we're going to develop the Confirm i4 experience, where we will have a full museum where we will bring people through Industry 1, Industry 2, 3, and up to current day Industry 4 as a full three-dimensional experience. So welcome to our community practice area. Here we have a 100-seater tiered facility where we want to bring together the universities and the academics and the industry and the public to talk about future manufacturing for Ireland and Europe and globally as well. So welcome to our full production floor. Here we have the physical part of our cyber physical manufacturing systems. Behind us we have 4 bay areas to carry out R&D in cyber physical manufacturing systems research with industry and academia. So in here we have the postgraduate and postdoctoral research areas. As you can see here in this particular room, there's 12 seats for research in cyber physical manufacturing systems. Very important part of the design was to integrate the researchers and the production floor to have this flow of sort of information and knowledge sharing and creativity sharing within the centre.
So guys, I'll shop.
So again, absolutely lovely to see it, and the wrapping virtually still on the whole thing, I'd imagine, is it?
Yeah, well, look, we're fortunate. We've managed to have a couple of COVID-19 projects that were given the go-ahead because of obviously their importance to the response last year. You know, so Science Foundation Ireland launched a number of open calls last year in terms of delivering solutions to help with the COVID-19 battle. So that has happened there. We've had very, very limited interaction ourselves with the building, unfortunately, Jonathan. But hopefully now, as we see the vaccine starting to roll out, we'll see some light at the end of the tunnel and get it.
And as the small child in me occasionally asks questions, tell me about this virtual reality cave you have.
Yeah, so it's as you see there, it's a full 8-meter diameter cave. You know, so again, you know, for us, I suppose the area like augmented and virtual reality is well known at this stage. For us, we're looking at maybe the research element and how you interact between the cyber and the physical systems. You know, so within the cave, is there actually something we can action in the virtual world that will drive a robot, will drive a machine, and the test beds next door, as you saw there. So yeah, it's, you know, again, will be useful as well in terms of where, as Conor mentioned, our Industry 4 museum. So again, we're looking to, I suppose, drive the next generation of talent as well in Ireland in terms of manufacturing. So we have a strong emphasis on education and public engagement. So once we can get back open, we're looking to, again, through that, invite primary and secondary schools into our centre, bring them in, let them see this full Industry 4 experience, that they can sit in this immersive room and see the Industry 4.0 as it has gone from Industry 1 to Industry 4, you know. So it's,
yeah, again, it's almost the stuff of make-believe, but there's a practicality to it as well. The fact that you can work on actual product, that, you know, you have the space there to develop whatever important little bit of gear that is needed. It's not just theoretical, so it's not all software, it's not all magical things. It's bits and pieces that will plug in together.
Yeah, certainly, and I think that has to be an element of it. It has to be practical, it has to be usable. Like there's double doors in the building, so technically in that case you could drive a car into that room. And, you know, in terms of collaborative design, if you wanted to design with the teams in the US, in the Middle East, you could all work together on this one project, you know, and have that interactive component to it as well. So yeah, there's really unlimited possibilities. I think the full university is ran on a 10 gigabyte connection. We've got 10 gigs coming to our building alone, so that will give you the scale. And as Anthony mentioned earlier as well, we're actually in the middle of installing a private 5G network as well there, which would be very interesting in terms of 5G for manufacturing specifically. How can 5G be leveraged, you know, in terms of manufacturing?
So you're going to actually be able to test in real time with your own internal 5G network. You're not relying on an outside provider to give you that.
Yeah, certainly, yeah, and that's part of the beauty of it, you know, that, like, you know, everybody talks about 5G, but like, is it 5G and Wi-Fi, 5G and Bluetooth, 5G and LoRa, all the different technologies, and also how do you operate 5G in theoretically in a really good facility that has machines, robots, people walking around it, you know, all those challenges around deployment of 5G as well. So it's really interesting.
If you think about all the great inventions, Pat, that have happened over the century, you know, the invention of the light bulb, the invention of the telephone, the invention of the telegraph, the invention of the mobile phone, the ubiquitous mobile phone, and what that has done. Probably the single biggest technological advance in certainly in the last 50 years, if not the last century. The trick is to get people coming together and collaborating, and that's where it feeds into ITAC and everything that was going on. That you're not really going to succeed on your own. There won't be an Alexander Graham Bell moment, but there will be a collective approach to problem solving that will result in new products, new ideas, new businesses. Yeah,
like certainly, it's for us. We really see the value in it, and the partners that we're starting to work with now really. You've been in industry for, it's probably bigger than any one, research center, any one, company, any one country really, so it's certainly, that space within HQ is going to be where we try and facilitate that interaction between companies, between academia, between the public, and look at how we can actually, I suppose, raise the bar for Ireland Inc. in general, and look at the Midwest, I suppose, in terms of the facilities we have there, in terms of the lab that Anthony showcased there. There's a lot of opportunities, and again, global competition, so for us, we're looking to benchmark ourselves against the best globally, so we have to be very cognizant of that as well. It was interesting. I was at an event last week for Enterprise Ireland, and they were talking, there was a speaker there from Intercom, which is the first Irish unicorn, as they describe it. But they really got going about 10 years ago. But when they got going and they worked through the various issues, and I'm paraphrasing a much more eloquent speech, they felt that they couldn't stay here, that they had to go to the Valley. They had to go to San Francisco to make a go of it. And the message to Irish companies now is you don't have to do that anymore. The way technology has evolved, you can do it from the west of Ireland. You can do it from Limerick. You can do it from Clare. Is that where you see Confirm coming in, that you can give confidence to the companies like we're watching us right now, that this is actually the right place to do it? You don't have to move anymore like you might have had to do in a previous generation. Yeah, look, I certainly think so, and I think it's that combined approach between the agencies as well, as you mentioned, Jonathan. You look at SFI, EI, IDA. Obviously the LEOs fall under EI, but I think it's maybe finding the door, so like the front door. So by coming to Confirm, if we can direct you into the right people, the right connections, that's what we're there to do, Yeah. It's not just about coming to Confirm just for a project. It's about coming and opening doors to multiple areas, I think. Okay, well, look, I for one want to get into a virtual reality cave once COVID-19 will allow me. So I hopefully have a standing invitation to get into that, Patrick, because it sounds like the closest thing to the Star Trek holodeck that we're going to get in my lifetime. Anyway, Patrick, you're going to stay with us and take questions as well for the Q&A. Thank you so much for joining us. But for now, Patrick Reedy of the Confirm Centre at University of Limerick, thank you so much for joining us. You're very shy in the questions, lads. If you don't ask them, I'm going to have to keep talking. And as you've seen so far, the standard of my questions is generally rubbish. So please feel free to drop some questions into us, and we will ask them after we speak to our next guest. And our next guest is somebody who I have had the pleasure of interviewing before. He has created a digital software solution for visitor attractions for museums and for other experience-led enterprises. It's an experiential app for visitors, and it shows how software can be used to show off pretty much any business. And his journey to getting there was a very, very interesting one indeed. Ivan Toohey of Great Visitor Experiences, how are you? Good afternoon.
I'm very good, Jonathan, and I don't have any video or any slides to share, so you have to look at my mug now for next week.
Unfortunately, our apologies to the people watching at home. Unfortunately, we're stuck with the two of us. There's not much going for us, but we'll persevere. We'll persevere, Ivan. Tell us a little bit. I didn't do justice there. Tell us a little bit about Great Visitor Experiences and what you do.
I suppose in simple terms, we're a software company with a very narrow focus. So we only focus on visitor attractions, museums, and those leisure activities that visitors would partake in when they're here on holidays. And we have a couple of simple tools. We say simple, but they're quite smart, I suppose. But from the customer-facing point of view, it's what we call an experiential app. That's Android and iOS for the visitor. We have a very kind of a technical, smart backend system that we call simply a management software platform for those managers. And then we have a very innovative ticketing solution platform as well. So we've got 3 pillars to our business. And what we've always tried and do is that, from the front side is that, it's very simple, very intuitive, very easy to use. And on the other side, then I suppose there's lots of activity and lots around segmentation and how we actually profile people and look at people from the other side. So it's kind of two halves, really. It's like we kind of compare ourselves to like a swan, very graceful at the front and very busy underneath.
Before we get to the great visitor experiences, a lot of people will know you from your previous role, because you were a hotel manager or the general manager of the Clarion in Limerick, and people would know that. So you know one or two things about standards and you know things about service. Is that what led you into this particular career?
Yeah, so I suppose, no, I'm a hotelier by trade, and I suppose I have about 15 years general manager experience behind me, and I was in the Clarion for about 5.5 years as regional manager there. But I suppose when I left the Clarion back, I think in 2015, I joined S.M.A.R.Tech. So people know S.M.A.R.Tech as a semi-state company, the largest commercial visitor attraction operator. So I would be in charge of places like Bunratty Castle in Folk Park in County Clare, King John's Castle here in Limerick, Kinvara Castle in Galway. So there's about 7 properties within the portfolio, and I had 4 properties to look after, about 700,000 visitors. So it's actually really, while I was working with S.M.A.R.Tech, that I kind of saw a gap in the market. So tourism specifically, I suppose, is that you always see hotels as being top of the pyramid, then maybe restaurants, bars, and then visitor attractions and museums at down the lower end. So it's a case of that, we were offering a product to visitors, but we weren't charging a whole lot of money for it. They would come, they would enjoy their day out, but we couldn't connect to them. We couldn't tell them the story beyond what they could see. We didn't understand what they wanted from us, and it was very fragmented. So again, I suppose if we go to simple terms, they got a map on arrival, they got a very warm hello, they might get an audio guide, and we kind of didn't see them anymore until they left. Yeah. So I suppose the challenge for us was that, as a manager, how can we improve that experience and how can we learn something from those customers? And we kind of didn't do that well in either case.
No. Well, I mean, I'd imagine that the best you got was the equivalent of a tape affathon on off with you. And if you were lucky, you'll press the right number for what you're looking at. And it's funny because I've been last year when we could go places. Was it the year before? I can't remember. It was the year before, I think. Yeah. I remember going to the Nou Camp Stadium in Barcelona, which is a fantastic stadium tour. But you have this yoke that you have to try and dial in a number, and then it tells you a very long-winded story, and it's up to your ear, and you're trying to read, and there's another tourist behind you shoving you on, and it's kind of a dissatisfying experience. Whereas in reality, it could have hooked me in, and I could have found out what I was looking at a lot faster. Yeah. Is that what you're trying to do, to try and improve that experience in a way that people will remember?
Yeah, so it's two key things there, I suppose. One, I suppose, is what we call the interactive nature of the content. So traditionally, I suppose, you have a very singular audio guide. So it's all audio and that's it. Or it's all reading some English, or in your case, maybe some Spanish and English on a sign, and it's very small. And again, I suppose you have a lot of these questions. Why is it built here? And who built it? And how long did it take to build? And they're kind of questions you don't get answered. So what we try and do is that we can take all the content you have, put it all into one place, our mobile app, and then we can tell all those stories beyond what you can see. So if you love history, there's more history. If you love pictures, there's more pictures. So you can dip in and dip out. And we kind of say, look, no, be in the moment. We're not going to take away from having a phone up to your face and say, oh, this is me, enjoy the moment. But if you want more, we have it there for you. And I also suppose the pre-trip and the post-trip, we can add to that as well with more information. So we kind of say, look, you layer the information up. Some people want more, some less. And what we also find is around the languages, that's a big issue, because if you go around, if you're from Ireland, in Ireland, you don't care. But we find this now, we have so many Germans, French, international visitors, and they go, it was a nice day. And you kind of say, well, what did you enjoy? And it's like, I don't know, it was just a nice day out, because they don't understand what they're seeing or doing.
Yeah, and that gives rise to the next thing. That look, as I'm getting older, I'm getting crankier. I think it's just the natural nature of how things go. Yeah, I know it's how it is. And when I'm doing something, if I'm paying an entry fee to go to a big landmark, I kind of expect them to tell me what I'm looking at. Now, in years gone by, I'd have walked around thinking this is delaying me getting to the pub. But as I'm getting older, I'm going, I want to find out when the castle was built. I want to find out why that rampart is called the Murder Rampart. Yeah. And if I don't have a tour guide with me, I'm losing out on that experience. but I am capable of using this.
Yeah.
And instead of listening to the tour guide telling me about an old bucket that I'm not interested in, I can ignore that and go straight to the murder stone and take something in. So they were missing a trick, these visitor experiences, weren't they? Which is why they were down the bottom of the tier.
They were, and the other side of it is that, most of us go to these places in peak season. So in peak season, you have extra staff, extra tours, extra activity. But if you go in January, February, March, April, you're still paying a premium price, but the experience is far less. So my idea really was to have a minimum base level. So regardless of when you go, who you are, what you do, you have a minimum level of experience, and you can build upwards from there.
Of course, then we move into what happens next, right? So you've already introduced a product that enhances the experience, but I don't know whether you saw Patrick's virtual reality cave, but there's a whole load of opportunity there for the fella who can't necessarily visit St. John's Castle to have a look at St. John's Castle. I mean, is there opportunities in Industry 4.0 that people will be able to use?
Yeah, so one thing that we've done some trials with is around augmented reality, the AR. The VR is a different animal, a different beast. With the AR, you can still use your mobile phone, and you can still be somewhere. And I like the idea of being present and having certain, I suppose, content that is more relevant to where you are. So one thing that we are actually trialing with Feinstein Book Museum, one of our customers, with that, they have two perfect sites for the likes of augmented reality. You kind of walk up a tall tower, you can see the River Shannon across from you. So our idea there with them is that you can see old flying boats actually coming into the harbour, just as it did back in the day. You and I might think of flying boats, they may have had one or two, but back in the day, there could have been 5, 6, 7 of these boats in the lake. It was amazing. So our view there, that you could bring the augmented reality, see these boats landing in the lake and the river. The other side was that, where they're positioned, you can see the main street of Foynes, and you can overlay what was Foynes looked like back in 1920s and 30s. And I suppose one of the challenges that is there is that a lot of times the likes of AR and VR is on another device. It's built on a freestanding unit, like another app. And one thing that we've done is that, again, once you create the AR content, we have tools now you can actually integrate into our app. So you don't need a separate app for AR. You can use our application for video, voice, audio, AR. And again, it goes back to one single place for all the content. And for us, I suppose, we don't see 4.0 as being disruptive. We see it more about improving things. So improving efficiency, improving accuracy, improving the experience, and gathering some good information on your visitors so that you can also just maybe sell them a bit more in a nice way, as opposed to forcefully selling them something.
I suppose the big winner here is the person who owns the experience, because they're getting data. And when you think about it, you think you've created fantastic user experience, and there's loads of people walking around, but you don't know that they're not looking at the right thing. If you have this configured properly, you're going to realize, well, people spend an extra 15 minutes at this point in the experience. Well, that's where we should put the gift shop, because if they're doing that, and all of a sudden you're creating, I'm sold, Ivan. You have me in here. I'm done.
Yeah, come on the payroll, but that's exactly. So, as operators, we assume certain things, but it's only actually when you kind of walk around at the people, because, well, why are they going over there? And you're dead right. We don't realize what people are looking at. So we assume different things. And part of our technology is around the persona. So we don't care about Jonathan or Anthony or Caroline, it's the persona. So what does a French visitor do when they come on your site? Are they they're probably, we think maybe more in the castle, because they have a lot of castles in France. So, or they care about the houses. So our technology allows us to monitor, once they track, to monitor these people in terms of what do they do, what do they engage with? Do they spend 10 minutes in the castle, 15 minutes with the goats? What does that persona do? And then, I suppose, we understand where they are in terms of location, and we can send them a little push notification, we call nudge technology, say, oh, by the way, you're near the cafe, would you like a cup of coffee? Like, oh, maybe it's 11 o'clock, maybe I would. So I suppose we're using that technology to, yes, showcase the experience, but learn where people are going, what to do on site. Can we sell them something in a very gentle nudge way? And then I suppose at the end of their visit, we are very strong in the persona management element. So we recognize they're French, they're German, they're Italian, they're Irish. Can we discount certain products based on who they are as opposed to what they buy?
Well, I'll tell you, if you discounted something for a Frenchman ahead of me, you'd have me to deal with that the way out, I can tell you. I'm guessing, right, and I don't know, maybe you are a fantastic coder, but I'm guessing with your background in hotel management, you mightn't be. So you had to collaborate. And as we were talking about earlier on, that letting others in, that making sure that you finish it by getting in contact with the right people. How difficult was that journey for you in finding the right partner?
Yeah, so in a lot of ways, I don't know much about coding, if anything. As a general manager of a hotel, I suppose one of the traits we have is that we're very good at managing people. You know, we don't do a lot of work ourselves. We tell everybody else what to do and how to do it. So I was, at the time, I suppose, that I was coming up with my idea, I suppose I had met the team in LEO, the Clare office there with Padraig and Linda, and I suppose they gave me great support in terms of financially, and I suppose just the backing, say, look, go ahead and do it. So I was doing an MBA at the time in the University of Limerick, and one of the fellow students, I suppose, was a senior engineer with an international company in Ireland. So she actually hooked me up with people she knew, an outsourcing company based in India that do an awful lot of work in Ireland for large companies, and this kind of shocked me. So you think you're going to a company getting work done, but actually it's being outsourced somewhere else. So I've been using an outsourcing company for the last 3 years. I've been over to India a couple of times. They've been here with me. They're on my payroll. They have 400 staff. So I would manage them very well, and they would work with me. So we do all the sales activity, some of the software work here, but we do a lot of the kind of work that's can be done overseas, and that worked very well for us.
Given that, unfortunately, the sector you're in has taken an awful kicking in the last 12 months and is going to take, I hate to say it, but it's probably another 12 months to get back to anything resembling normality. Is there an opportunity there for a clever man such as Ivan to bring people to destinations when they can't actually get them?
So we're making sales. We made a sale yesterday, and we're continuing to make sales. And our product is very COVID friendly. So we didn't this project started 3 years ago, before COVID. And one of the things that we were speaking to customers this time last year was that, oh, Ivan, this is a bit too far ahead of the market. You know, we might do online bookings maybe in a few years' time, but people using their phones, I know that's not going to happen. I suppose now with COVID, we have been sprung forward by about 3 years, and now we did we did an e-sign on Monday to county councillors, when I say CEOs of the county councils, and we did 25 emails, and we got 5 inquiries straight away from county councils. They said, we're not COVID ready, we're not COVID compliant, we can't use our screens in our museums, we can't do this, we can't do that, we kind of need help. We thought COVID would be gone now, but no. So even though we don't sell ourselves as a COVID product, we're very COVID friendly, we're very digitally focused, we don't forget about the customer, so we're very customer focused as well. So we're making sales, and we think we're going to have a good year ahead of us this year.
3 years ago you set this up, right? So you've been on quite the journey for 3 years. You've built your customer base. How confident are you that this is going to translate to other countries? That, here's your business that's spun out of the Midwest. Are you looking at the Midwest in the United States? Are you looking at the Mid-East as moving it out? I mean, how transferable is this to other markets, and how geared up are you for that, Ivan?
So we believe that we're very transferable. We had a call this morning with Northern Ireland Tourism Board. We were speaking with the Scottish Tourist Board back in October and November, and that's still ongoing. We did a demo with a company based in Dubai on Thursday, from a ticketing point of view. So that's only kind of over the last 4 days, we've had that kind of interaction. So I suppose our branding is very much around great visitor experiences. There's visitor experiences everywhere, in every part of the world. The area that we focus in, attractions, museums, is the lower in the tree. Nobody really focuses in that area because the bucket is small. So we think we're in a niche area, great domain experience, and we think, we built this to be global, not to be stuck in Bunratty, County Clare.
Well, by the sounds of what you're getting out there, and would you do me a favour, go to the new camp, will you? They have a terrible visitor experience. You need to work at it. Great in some ways.
But would you believe it? We were doing a funding round last January, it just didn't really happen for us purely because of COVID and tourism. But one of the companies we were talking to was the Silicon Valley Bank, and they were like, Ivan, one of our customers is the Nou Camp. We'll get you in there. So it's a small world.
I've given you the idea. The funny thing is, that was my last trip away. Was that trip to Barcelona? And obviously, when you've got small kids, it's a great time that you get away. The two you get away. But we ended up going to Barcelona when there was a riot. So it was my last trip abroad was during a riot. So I'm really, really itching to get away somewhere once COVID comes out. But look, we might have a great visitor experience where we're there. Keep your camera on, please, Ivan, because people have been sending questions in, and hopefully some of them will be for you. But I'd like to invite Caroline and Anthony and Patrick to turn their cameras back on now. Hopefully we'll see them all there now in just a second. There we have you, Caroline. There you go. We can, well, your silhouette card. No, there you go. We can see you now. We'll get you to do the awkward wave and given that we're all in the group. So everybody give an awkward wave. There we have it. Patrick, good man. Patrick controversial with the hand choice there. Everyone else went with the other hand. Let's go to the question and answer session, folks, because some of them have come in. So let me just open it here. From Mohammed. Yeah, I'm going to have to put the glasses on. That's in this chair. I'm definitely getting old. Thanks, Patrick. The idea of having school students visit the VR is amazing. I proposed the idea of VR for TY students during the workshop, and they love it. Could you have some contact details? So we might put you in contact with Mohammed there, Patrick, because it sounds like he is very much somebody who is interested in what you're doing. Sarah is also with us. Good afternoon to you, Sarah. How does the Confirmed Centre choose client companies to come and do research and development there, Patrick?
Yeah, so look, if Sarah wants to reach out to me as well, it's generally we're open to working with everybody, from micro to medium to multinationals, So I suppose if there's a fit and there's a challenge that we can address, if we can find a research question that's relevant to manufacturing and to the business, that's generally where we start, and it's a very collaborative process, So it can take place over a number of meetings. It's really straightforward to engage, and again, we don't charge a membership fee. We don't have anything like that, So it's basically come down and we have a discussion.
Yeah, and the contact details are on the website, aren't they? What's the website again?
Yeah, confirm.ie. So yeah, my email address will be up there as well. Yeah. So
okay. Kathy Balf is watching. Hi, Kathy. Would love to know how Ivan moved from a non-tech background to starting a tech company in terms of acquiring the skills needed. Was it a steep learning curve, or did you outsource the development? Well, you did outsource the development, but on the issue of a steep learning curve, I'm presuming, Ivan, it was a lot steeper than you're expecting.
It was a lot steeper than I expected, but look, the reality is, it's all about managing teams, managing people, managing projects. One thing that I did very, very well at the beginning was I really thought about the project. Padraig would tell you there, my business plan was probably 100 pages when he saw it, He probably nearly fell off his chair. I'm not reading this thing. It's just giving money. It's just too much work to read it. But it's case of, I really had thought long and hard about how are we going to get this project off the ground. My scoping document was about 30 pages, and we built it from the beginning in terms of this is going to be a global company. We're going to go for it. We're going to go big or we're going to go home. And that was the end of it. And I suppose when I was doing the MBA, to be fair, there were some great people around the room with me, and they loved what we were trying to do. So they really helped me, and they had engineering backgrounds, computer backgrounds. So they really helped me all for free at the beginning. So we really got a very good grounding. But I supported myself with some good people that I trusted and still trust today.
Yeah, of course, that is the key to success in any organization. Tim Pullen has been with us as well. He says SMEs make up nearly 9% of the Irish market, which they do. They're the real engine of the Irish economy. There's large cultural resistance to change, especially technology change in small family-run companies. Clearly, we've had to work hard to show these companies what is now possible, what is affordable, and the benefits, survival that accrue. How do we address the tactical issues, short-term financial time, etc., versus the strategic vision using the tech to grow your business? Caroline, I put that to you because you have lots of experience of this as well with companies who are coming to iTag for support.
Yeah, a lot of companies come for support, and I suppose that the fact that I have a small business myself, I completely understand that there are a lot of hesitations when it comes to change around technology. But unfortunately, the technology market is moving so rapidly at the moment that we have no choice but to educate ourselves and to try to continue, and especially support groups that are there for startups in particular. They have great offerings for startups now, and it's getting them the information and the supports that they need to learn about the new technologies. So it's getting the message out there that there are fantastic supports for these companies, and we all have to change. Unfortunately, it's part of our everyday makeup, but it just has to be done.
Okay, and I suppose, Anthony, I'll ask you that as well, because people probably see, oh, Dell, sure, they wouldn't be interested in me, I'm too small. I mean, is it the case that you have to be a certain size, you have to do a certain thing for Dell to be interested in you?
No, not at all. I think that, we cater for every type of customer, from, the individual consumer to small business to medium business, and all the way up into enterprise in multiple ways. Customers can engage with us either directly or through the channel. And in the solution center, we've worked with many organizations who have ideas that they kind of need technology as an enabler for. And we're certainly there to help with those ideas as well. But just back on the on the question with regards to to the small businesses leveraging technology, as Caroline said, everything is changing. It's changing so rapidly, and I think even to just even to see what's being done by the large organizations in terms of using technology, that technology is now becoming more ubiquitous. It's easier to get access to it. It's easier to get access to cloud services, and easier to implement stuff. So that resistance sometimes is just based on a fear, but the technology industry is trying to make it easier for everybody to adopt them. So I would say just jump in.
Yeah, don't hold back. Jim Cuddy asked a question: in the context of remote working, some companies are finding it difficult to maintain innovation activity when staff actually can't be together. Does the panel or the audience have suggestions on how innovation can be stimulated when working remotely? Ivan, I suppose if I can talk about your experience in the last 12 months, obviously you're still landing business and you're still having those conversations, but if your developers are in India and you're in Clare, you have a problem.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to that communication. So we have a call every day at 10:30. We have a team here in Ireland as well, based in Ennis and in Limerick. So in case of at this stage now, we're all jumping on at the same time. And again, it goes back to what's your vision, what's your path, what's the jobs ahead. If you're looking for something to be done tomorrow, look, it's not going to be done. And it's about trust. So back in my old employment days, if someone said, I'm going to work from home today, I'd be like, no way you work from home. Not a chance, because you're doing nothing at home, But now it's I'm working from home, it's fine. So it's about the planning and the organization and just the project management and keep on top of the work.
A question here for you, Caroline, from Aoife Keedy. She says, you brought up some great courses there. Are startups fully subsidized? So is it the supports that might be there for startups to get that help and advice? You might talk us through that again, Caroline.
We try our best to support startups, so it's on an individual basis. The association is around tech industries that are in existence at the moment, and what we try to do is to help startups. So if there's something you're interested in and you have a need for it, and we will try our best to facilitate you, and that's all I can say. So absolutely come along, ask us, and we'll give you the answer, and we will do our utmost to get you that training if you need it.
Question from anonymous attendee. Sounds far more mysterious than it actually is. Those of us with smaller businesses, under 10 people, and again, back to large workforce of the Irish economy as those companies, what does Ivan suggest on finding technology that will work for our business? But I suppose, look, we might actually address that as well to you, Patrick, about finding those technologies. There might be something already in confirmed that will help businesses that are out there. How do you help identify it?
Yeah, look for us, Jonathan, that's a common challenge, and not just only with smaller businesses. I think for us, what we've really been good at is trying to identify the business case. So going in, having a discussion with the companies involved, looking at the challenges and answer, okay, where will technology help and where it won't help? It's not just a case of actually throwing a technology at something, be it, okay, we're going to install a cobot here, or we're going to go and we're going to look at data analytics on a line. It really is a deep dive into the company. And it's something that we're looking at as well within Confirm, and we're hoping to launch in the second half of this year a digital assessment tool for companies, particularly aimed at, providing that roadmap in terms of where they're at, giving them a medium-term and long-term goals in terms of their technology.
Ivan, there's lots of questions for you. You've piqued people's interest. So I'll put another one to you. Peter, Ivan, can you have live interaction with guests on your app? Something similar to this Zoom interaction? Do you see it as an area where there could be demand? Well, none of us knew what Zoom was 12 months ago, so I suppose there's always an opportunity.
Zoom, no. But yes, we in our product pipeline, I suppose we do see an opportunity in terms of people, I suppose it's this kind of, I'm actually doing some work around this co-creation piece, so like it's moving from B2B, B2C to actually P2P, so peer-to-peer. So like, nearly trying to remove myself from the environment altogether and having, I suppose, customers speaking to customers about our product. So that's done through, I suppose, those channels and that kind of stuff. So yes, it's in our product pipeline. I think the next phase of this development will be around the peer-to-peer, visitor-to-visitor, and what they're doing outside of our organization. So yeah, it's something that we're working on, but it's very new at the moment.
Okay, very good. Well, we like new things, and we look forward to seeing what it looks like at the end. I'm just going to ask each of you just to give us the one most important thing that the companies who are watching us right now need to think about as they look at the future and as they begin to plot the journey over the next 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. And Anthony, I'll begin with you. What's the most important thing they need to do?
Most important thing is to understand their business problem. I think, without understanding that, you're kind of swimming in this sort of sea of technology out there and trying to figure out, what technology to use. Know the problem, first of all, and, reach out to, to the technology industry, and the technology industry is more than willing to be able to share, experiences they've had with others with similar problems. I think that's the most important thing. Know what your problem is coming to any technology provider with.
It makes it easy. Patrick, same question to you. What's the most important thing they need to do?
Yeah, look, I think I definitely agree with Anthony there in his first point, understand the problem. And I think secondly as well, I would say the collaboration aspect of it, industry, academia, the supports that are provided through EI, IDA, SFI, don't be afraid to reach out and ask. It's like, certainly from Confirm, it's not a push. If we can direct you the right direction, we're more than happy to facilitate and help there.
Okay, Caroline.
Yeah, I would agree with Anthony. I would just think that you need to know your business. You need to know your story, be able to tell your story. I think you need to do a lot of research into the technology that will enable your business to move forward in the future of work. And I think that you need to build in your cybersecurity from the beginning. Don't leave it. And network, I think that would be my 4.
Oh, please put your cybersecurity at the heart of everything you do. Otherwise, you have to unpick it and do it again. That's very solid advice indeed. Ivan, last one to you. What do you think, as someone who's been on this journey for the last 3 years, maybe others are coming up the rails, are starting out on their journey? What, from your mistakes, no doubt there were few, but the ones that you made, what's the most important bit of advice?
I think really, suppose, having a vision in terms of what your business will become and where you want to go. So like, if you can't visualize where you want to go, it's not going to happen for you. Second point, we have a very narrow base. So like we always say straight away, we only focus on attraction museums, activity providers. I'm a hotelier, we get calls from hotels and restaurants, and can you do this for me? We say no. We may in the future, but right now, I suppose we know who our customer is. The next point is now ask your customers, if I do this, will you buy it? If I do the other, will you buy it? What don't you like? What can you like? The mistake, I suppose, I made at the beginning was that we developed a very sophisticated system, thinking that some of our customers we were talking to would buy it for X amount of money. They didn't, so we had to kind of rechange our business plan or our business approach. So we probably over-spec and over-scope certain things. They're still relevant and we will use them, but I suppose we spend money where we didn't have to spend at the time. So I would say, look, I suppose have an narrow base, know your customer, ask them for your feedback, and just everybody in the business is selling. Everybody is a salesperson, no matter who they are, they're selling.
That's Very solid advice. Ivan Toohey, Anthony Quigley, Patrick Reedy and Caroline Cawley, thank you so much. We'll do another awkward waving now before we go. Everyone awkward waving. There we go. Patrick, you changed hands. I caught you. Thanks very much for that, folks. We'll leave you turn your cameras and your microphones off. Fascinating insights from all of our panel today. Pádraig, we'll bring you back in. Pádraig McElwee from the Local Enterprise Office in Clare. It just shows you, Pádraig, how much is going on out there. And most importantly for me, the accessibility of it all.
Yeah, John, and I suppose one of the reasons we did today, like I'm head of enterprise now 5 years, and every day I learn about a new pathway or a new interaction, and just there on the screen is just one we said we put up for information. The NDRC hubs are running, around a competitive fund. So there's various stages in that. So again, it's being aware of what's out there, and that Caroline hit the nail on the head. It's actually networking. It's creating that ecosystems. And when we started the project here in the Midwest a couple of months ago, that's actually the best feedback we got, was those interactions and those partnerships that evolved out of that. Okay, the ones that came through got a bit of money out of it. That was important, but everybody valued the connections, and particularly the guys in Dell and Confirm, and NITAG have just been huge supporters of that ecosystem. John, I just want to touch on one of the questions there, just for the benefit of people. It was around small business adopting technology. Our experience is it's quite often a fear of technology. It's of the digital skills. So people mightn't be aware, but the regional skills forum throughout the country and a lot of the education training boards, they do a lot of state-funded training in basic digital skills. And, we've had a number of businesses in the Midwest gone through that program, and it has literally transformed the employees' confidence in using technology, which in turn then enhances the business.
Yeah, don't forget, it doesn't have to be you who does it. You just have to be the person who enables it within your company. There could be someone there who would automatically do it for you. I'm actually, my office normally in peace times is in the Republic of Work in Cork. And again, having people coming together, I've seen it. I see the difference that little ecosystem makes to all of those companies who come through. I mean, Pádraig, we'll finish up on this if we can. We've been through a pretty tricky 12 months. I think that's fair to say. It's probably going to have another tricky few weeks and months ahead of us, but the light, as you point out, is at the end of the tunnel. I mean, what do you say to companies right now? I mean, if the fact they're here means they're looking forward, what do you say to them about this technological journey and overcoming that fear?
Yeah, first of all, I personally feel this is going to be dramatic change. COVID has accelerated a number of these changes. There is nothing to fear. Actually, one of the fears, believe it or not, is the language around this word, sometimes because it's unfamiliar language. But I think Ivan or one of the other speakers touched on it. Understand what you want to achieve. What are you trying to get? What problem are you solving? And then find a solution. And sometimes don't go for the really sophisticated end product. You heard Ivan talking about, he spent in his early days a lot of very advanced technical development. But sometimes start with get an easy solution and then build out from there. But there's nothing to fear, but equally, it is important that we don't get on the journey because the world is changing. If you've got kids in your house, they only interact in the digital world. They like tell my young lad to go to a shop. Why would you do that? Like that's just not something you do. So we need to embrace what is coming ahead, and our companies, I think we have fantastic opportunity in Ireland. I think we now have a global reach. This opens a global market, and you touched on it earlier. You don't need to go to San Francisco. You can do it from right here in Ireland.
Absolutely. And you cannot beat the way that Irish companies have dealt with the last 12 months, because the amount of pivoting and innovation and embracing of technology, where previously there might have been a bit of reluctance, just shows you that the landscape after all this is over is still very bright. Pádraig McElwee, congratulations on a virtual local enterprise week this year. Fingers crossed we get to actually meet human beings again sometime soon. Lots of people have been asking questions about contact details and so on. The team with the local enterprise office in Clare are taking all of those down, and we will be able to share that on. This has been recorded, as we made the point earlier on, and is going to be made available for those who didn't miss it. The future, folks, despite everything we've been through, well, it still remains bright. And the things that are going on right now would have seemed impossible 5 years ago, even 12 months ago. It just shows you the power that is within the businesses that we have to innovate, to change, and to move forwards. Good luck, whatever your business is and whatever journey you have to take. You're never on your own. And there's always somebody who'll help you through a problem that you think is unique, but someone else has had before. And the local enterprise office is a great way of finding that out. On behalf of everybody who organized this panel, who took part in it, thank you so much for watching, and have a very good evening. The best of luck.